Newsshooter coverage of NAB 2025 is sponsored by B&H Build Expo, June 17th and 18th at the Javits Center, New York, and Atlas Lens Co.
I'm Eric Naso at Newsshooter.com, and we are at NAB 2025. I'm with Paul from Canon. How you doing, Paul?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
Yeah, day one, not bad.
Day one, yeah. It's all downhill from here.
That's right. So there's a giant box lens behind you that was recently announced. A lot of interest. This thing is doing something that no other box camera has ever done before.
Right.
Talk to me about what we got here.
So this is the novel look version of the UJ122. We've had the UJ122. It's far and away one of the most commonly adopted lenses in pro sports. One of the big things that has been ever increasing in pro sports is the need for shallow depth of field footage. Now, typical box lens, 2/3 imager, doesn't really have that same kind of shallow depth of field. It's easy to do this kind of thing with, a handheld, a Steadicam, something like that. You don't have to give up too much because it's mobile. But when you deal with these hard camera positions, then you're building an entire SMPTE chain, and that SMPTE chain is really expensive, and it's dedicated just to that specialty shot. So what can we do then to preserve, the value and the functionality of a shot completely? Well, with the 122, because of its expansive zoom range that got it so highly adopted, we went, well, that's going to be the candidate. Now, you probably know that inside of these lenses, the box lenses, they have a 2x doubler. Well, the way that 2x magnifier actually works is there's an optical unit that's the 1x, and then there's an optical unit that's the 2x, and it's on this turret, or this wheel, if you want to get really technical. Now, in the past, there also used to be a 1.5 magnifier, and that just kind of went away. Now, when that went away, we didn't reinvent the wheel. We just plugged the hole in it. We put a counterbalance in it to make up for, the weight of the other two optical units. So then we came up with this idea, well, let's come up with an optical unit that fits into it and mimics this shallow depth of field. Now, you can get a shallow depth of field with one of these lenses if you shoot at a 1.7, a 2.0, something like that. But when you're shooting sports,
you'll miss it.
You're going to miss everything when you're shooting that shallow. They shoot sports at 5, 6, 8, 11, things like that. So this is where the optical alchemy, as I like to call it, starts to really manifest itself. You still have to shoot at a 1.7 when you're doing this, but the image isn't the same kind of sharp image you get in that typical 2/3 environment. We made a smooth image, not a soft image, a smooth image. So that smoothness allows the primary subject to appear in focus, and it gives a lot more operating range for the operator to run the focus demand. So they have more range of motion that they can keep the focus, and they're not just going to lose it.
Yeah.
So you get this shallow depth of field look, you're shooting at a really wide open aperture, but you still have the ability to maintain focus, and that background just melts away. And it's kind of unique. It doesn't look exactly the same as a large sensor, though it does kind of mimic that a lot.
Wow. I mean, that's crazy. That's like, so how did you guys come up with this idea? Was it so that you just stumble on it when you're just the engineers getting engineering?
Now, people much smarter than me did all of the math and went, here's kind of part of what it is. We spent so many years taking out different kinds of optical anomalies to get the sharpest images that we can through these big images. What we kind of did, or I should say them, because it's the people that are better than me at math, they kind of just came up with the idea of let's be very selective about how and where we put those things back. So the center of the image still looks really prime and optimal, whereas some of those anomalies and things that we've engineered out of the image to make it clearer, we kind of put around the edges so that it lets everything sort of melt away.
Wow. Now this is a one of a kind. Nobody's done this before with a box lens, right?
There's never been a hybrid lens of any kind like this that does a 2-in-1 where you can take one camera position and you can get the best of both worlds.
Wow.
And it's great for the director, the operator, and of course the viewer, who's most important.
And I'm sure the broadcasters are really interested in this lens.
Oh, big time. We've been shopping it around. If you watched the World Series, it was the low third camera in both locations, so lots of picture shots, some of the batter shots, depending on which position they were showing. Definitely a lot of home run shots, hero shots. It was
nice.
in all of, just about all of the football playoffs. There was a couple of them at the Super Bowl,
wow.
the SEC championship, the college football championship. It's been all over the place, so you've seen it. If you saw something in one of those games and went, hey, that's a cinema camera, it probably was not.
And so basically you had a lot of gaffer's tape on the lens so people didn't know that there was
Well,
Because
so
I mean,
far-
it was like a prototype at that point, wasn't
Well,
it?
so far it still looks the same. So that's actually one of the things, I'm glad you asked that. These are not rolling off of the assembly line as novel look UJ122s. Right now, it's a modification. Because it's
okay.
got, like I said, we've got that wheel and we just plug the hole in it and we can put that unit. So there's so many of these that are deployed. All of these OB sports companies that have them, they can send them in and then we can just put this optical unit in it. So it's a modification upgrade. They
Got it.
will be their own SKU that gets ordered and delivered off of the assembly line eventually. Right now, we're just doing the upgrades.
Got it. Obviously, this is a very specialized world. What does it cost them to sort of do this modification to these lenses?
I'm going to leave that kind of question up to the sales guys. The reason being that it's always sort of a direct relationship thing, and it depends on the number of units that there are. And they don't let me play with those numbers. I have to know all the other stuff like f-stops and bit rates and things.
It's a unique modification for these lenses, obviously.
Oh, clearly.
But it gives these broadcasters a new kind of an upgrade. It's not like mine. These are very expensive, these box lenses.
Oh, they are very expensive.
So to not have to buy a whole new lens, you can modify it and get that look.
Yeah.
That's pretty rare, right?
That is very cost effective for these companies. And then the other thing is when you're building a cinema or cinema style camera SMPTE chain for just, a shot you're going to use a couple of times, that's a tremendous investment. And those cameras are very, very expensive.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Have
problem.
a great show.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thanks for coming by.
You bet.